The Secret of the River Bride. In a quiet village by the Volta River in Ghana, there lived a humble fisherman named Kwaku. Life was difficult for him. Every day, he cast his net into the river, but the fish seemed to evade him. The villagers pitied him, for despite his hard work, Kwaku remained the poorest man in the village. One day, as Kwaku sat on the riverbank, frustrated by another fruitless day, he heard a soft, melodic voice behind him. Turning, he saw a woman of extraordinary beauty. Her skin glowed like morning sunlight, and her eyes sparkled like the river itself. "Who are you?" Kwaku asked, amazed. "I am Adzo," the woman said with a gentle smile. "I've seen your struggles, Kwaku. You are a good man, and I want to help you." Adzo didn't reveal her true identity as a mermaid who lived beneath the river. Instead, she presented herself as a mysterious traveler passing through the village. Over time, she and Kwaku grew close, and eventually, she proposed marriage. "Why would someone like you want to marry a poor man like me?" Kwaku asked, bewildered. "Because I see your heart," Adzo replied, "and together we can create a better life." Soon after their wedding, Kwaku's fortunes began to change. His fishing nets were suddenly overflowing with fish, and his fields, which had once been barren, produced abundant crops. The villagers marveled at his newfound wealth, attributing it to good luck. They whispered that Adzo must have brought a blessing to his life. Years passed, and Kwaku's wealth grew beyond imagination. He built the largest house in the village, dressed in fine clothes, and held grand feasts. But with his riches came arrogance. Kwaku began to change. He no longer spent time with Adzo, instead flaunting his wealth to impress others. Adzo, who had always been patient and loving, began to notice Kwaku's coldness. He spoke harshly to her, dismissed her advice, and treated her as if she were unimportant. Despite her silent tears, Adzo remained by his side, hoping he would remember the man she had fallen in love with. One day, Kwaku accused Adzo of being unworthy of his newfound status. "You are lucky to be married to me," he said proudly. "Without me, you would be nothing." Adzo's heart broke at his words, but she stayed calm. That night, as Kwaku slept, she returned to the river and called upon her powers. The next morning, Kwaku woke to find his wealth gone. His once grand house had crumbled, his fields were barren, and his nets came up empty. Panicked, Kwaku ran to Adzo. "What has happened? Why has the river cursed me?" he demanded. Adzo stood by the riverbank, her eyes filled with sadness. "The river did not curse you, Kwaku. I did." Kwaku stared at her in shock. "What do you mean?" Adzo stepped into the water, and before his eyes, her legs transformed into a shimmering tail. Her true form as a mermaid was revealed. "I am Adzo, the guardian of this river," she said, her voice firm. "I gave you everything because I loved you, but you let greed and pride consume you. You forgot the man you once were." Kwaku fell to his knees, overcome with shame. "Adzo, I am sorry. I was blind to your love and kindness. Please forgive me." Adzo looked at him, her expression softening. "Kwaku, love must be met with love, not selfishness. I will return to my home beneath the river. If you can find humility and kindness once more, perhaps you will regain what you have lost." With that, she disappeared into the depths of the river, leaving Kwaku alone on the bank. From that day, Kwaku worked tirelessly to rebuild his life. He returned to the simple life of a fisherman, treating others with kindness and humility. Though he never saw Adzo again, he often sat by the river, speaking to the waters, hoping she could hear him. The villagers say that on quiet nights the river glows softly, and a melodious voice can be heard singing. They believe it is Adzo watching over the man who had learned the true value of love and humility.